Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Zoom today. We're happy to introduce, and I'm hoping I say his name right, Dr. Dakar
Drotar.
Drokar.
Close. Yeah,
So
no
he is
problem.
going to present to us on vitamins and minerals. So at this time, I'll turn it over to
Okay.
them.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for having me today. So again, my name is Dr. Timothy Drotar. I am a second year resident at the St. Luke's Family Medicine Residency here in Perrysburg. And I've been invited today to talk to you about supplements, including vitamins and minerals and other herbal products. So it's a pretty wide topic. Um, and initially, I was going to give you just a list of medications and if we recommend them or not. But I think what's more useful probably for you is general overview of what they are and should you take them or not, and what kind of process should you use to decide whether or not you should take it safely. So just some quick facts to start off with. Supplements and including vitamins and minerals and herbal products. Um, for vitamins, they are substances that our body needs, usually in very small amounts, to help our body have its normal function and be healthy. A supplement is another substance that is not necessarily required by your body, but is thought to improve your daily functioning, whether it be memory, energy, maybe reduce some certain health risks or alleviate certain symptoms you may have. It's not something that's used to diagnose or cure any kind of diseases. Supplements are just something that you may take to reduce some kind of symptom, typically. It's a very large industry. I've seen anywhere between $8 and $26 billion every year here in the country spent on supplements. So it's a huge amount of products being bought. You hear advertisements all over the airwaves. I heard one the other day about something called Texas Superfoods. I think it had like 55 different raw ingredients, vegetables, fruits, things like that in this little pill. It claimed on the commercial to increase energy, performance, sleep quality, thinking, and just reinforce organ health in general. So a wide variety of different things. A pretty amazing sounding product, actually. And they're actually allowed to say these things because they're not evaluated by the FDA. As long as they have that little statement, they can say whatever they want for these products because they're not really regulated the same as prescriptions. So we'll talk about that here in a second. These products are really designed to make you buy them in large amounts and for as long as possible. A lot of these supplements, actually, when people buy them, they don't actually even use the full amount. It often sits on the shelf and gets wasted after the first couple of days. Actually, myself, I've even done that myself too, but in the past. So definitely guilty of that. Usually these supplements are derived naturally, unlike prescriptions, which are more designed to be a certain chemical product and very regulated. So, like I said, they're often advertised to help with different ailments, that you might have. I have some questions I've kind of just formulated that maybe you may have. One of them is, what's the difference between an over-the-counter product versus prescription medication? So the major difference is actually in the way that they're regulated. So with prescription products, typically they're regulated by the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, and they do very rigorous testing to check on the safety of the medication, the effectiveness, typically it's a very long process that it has to go through for these drugs to be approved. Many years, takes millions of dollars. And so you have a product that we know is safe and we know works. Okay. This is different than a supplement, over-the-counter vitamin, mineral, or other product, herbal product. They don't undergo the rigorous testing. Therefore, they don't have to really spend a lot of money up front to do this testing. The only thing they're required to do is actually show that they have the required amount of the ingredient that they're advertising and minimum amounts of what they call harmful substances, whatever that might be. So it can't cause any harm. It's obviously the herbal supplements are not going to be as robust as far as evidence goes for you to use them. Okay. So common question that I get is, are vitamin supplements really necessary? And the short answer is not usually no. If you're eating a wide variety of different foods, a healthy diet, including fresh fruits and vegetables, not very many processed foods that would eliminate these nutrients, then you don't really need to have these supplements except for certain cases. So it really depends on your living situation. Are you able to cook your own meals? Are you buying your own groceries? And what's your appetite like? So if you're not eating a lot of food, wide variety of foods, maybe you're more on a tea and toast kind of diet, then you may be missing some of these nutrients, these supplements. And so you may have to actually buy an over-the-counter product to help to give you those nutrients that you need. So it's kind of individualized. But generally speaking, if you're eating a healthy diet, you don't really need to buy these supplements. So multivitamins, for a long time we prescribed them, recommended them, but newer evidence, as we look back at the data, has showed that we don't really need to prescribe these multivitamins, except in the cases we already kind of talked about where you're not really eating enough nutrition-wise. So you can take one daily, it's not going to hurt you, but you may not notice any extra effects once you start taking it. So, of course, as your diet changes, your activity level changes, you may need to have a supplement, and that's something that you can talk to your doctor about specifically with the multivitamin. So, some special cases, just a few of them. If you, vitamin B12 may be recommended if you have decreased stomach acid, if you're on like a proton pump inhibitor or something like that for acid reflux, it may decrease your absorption of B12. And that may be a case where you have to take vitamin B12 supplements, but your doctor would really talk to you about whether or not you need to have that based on your blood work. So also metformin can decrease it, different surgeries, things like that. So vitamin D, as you get older, you may get less sun exposure. You may have to have some vitamin D supplementation in that case. And then pregnancy and breastfeeding obviously doesn't really apply to this, to your age group, but that's something that they may have to have supplementation for that. Iron, if you're chronically anemic or having low red blood cells, you may have to have some iron supplementation to help you because you may not be getting enough through your diet. Lastly, B vitamins. Certain people who don't eat very well, and especially like alcoholics, may have to have some B vitamins to help them with that. So, if you're unsure about these things, ask your doctor or your dietitian if you should be taking these substances if you have these conditions. They'll be able to give you more guidance. So, but in general, a lot of these supplements, these vitamins, there's not a whole lot of evidence to take them if you're not having some other problems or you don't have any other underlying medical conditions. So, important point about these also is that a lot of these vitamin supplementations, the absorption isn't really known how much you're actually getting. And what I often see is people taking large amounts of these vitamins, but taking large amounts won't actually do any good. If you're not deficient, taking more is not going to give you a miraculous amount of energy or something like that. So, and it may actually cause some toxic problems too that we'll just talk about later on in the presentation. So, just moving on here, another question might be, will this product, whatever it is, herbal product supplement, help in whatever chronic condition I have? So in general, these supplements are not going to be miracle cures. They're not going to fix whatever problem you have within a couple months of taking this different product. It's not going to cure cancer or fix whatever, possibly sex drive or other energy problems. So there's really no quick fix. If you're having new symptoms or worsening symptoms of like poor memory, fatigue, pain, whatever you might be having, then you should really give your doctor's office a call and tell them you're having these symptoms, because you may be spending a lot of money on a product without a lot of evidence behind it to support it. It may be actually a symptom of a new disease or worsening disease, and we kind of want to know that maybe things are progressing so we can change your treatment if necessary. If you're having a new symptom, could this be a new problem, a new diagnosis that we need to investigate further? You may be trying to treat yourself when it needs to be have further workup done for you. So we want to make sure we properly diagnose any new problems or worsening conditions you have. Also, some of these problems may be from medication. So what we will often do is look at your medication list to make sure that there are no, these aren't side effects from medication that you have currently. Because in that case, we would just decrease the dose of medication rather than take a whole new product, expose yourself to new side effects and things like that from these different products. So next, I'll just kind of talk about some general common supplements people will take. Your doctor may have you on these already. Just really briefly here, calcium, something that is very common, lends strength to our bones, and we need it as we become less physically active, we may need extra amounts of calcium. And so there are some recommendations here on the handout that will be given to you. Basically, that will be monitored by your doctor to see if you need to have supplementation of calcium. The big thing I want you to get out of today's presentation is a lot of these things you're going to get through your diet as long as you're eating enough. And so, for instance, calcium you can get through milk products, tofu, salmon, green leafy vegetables, things like that. If you do need to take calcium, I recommend that you take only 500 milligrams at most per dose, because you don't really absorb any more than that. And the best form that you can get as far as absorption is called calcium citrate. So I'd recommend that one. Vitamin D, also very common for bone strength as well as other effects in the body too. But it really helps you to absorb calcium. Very common to take, because especially in this area, we're deficient in vitamin D. I was tested a couple of years ago. Actually, I was vitamin D deficient. I was surprised to find that out. And I just diagnosed somebody the other day with that vitamin D deficiency. So especially if you're a darker skinned individual, something that you might have to take to help with your bone strength and things like that. So again, natural sources you usually get through good diet and sun exposure. Make sure you get a little bit of sun every day, 15 to 30 minutes in total. So if you can get a sunlight, that will help you to get that. Vitamin B6 we use to make red blood cells, for energy, things like that, and carry out cell processes. And so we just need a little bit every day of that as well. You can get it through potatoes, bananas, different meats. So you may have to have supplementation for that specifically. Vitamin B12, kind of alluded to earlier, it's used to make red blood cells, nerve function, thinking clearly. So small daily needs you get through different meat products, milk, etc. So as long as you're getting a wide variety of those in your diet, you don't have to take an extra supplement for those if you're having these symptoms. I would, contact your doctor about worsening problems. Magnesium and potassium, these are just some different minerals that we need for various bodies. These typically tend to be a little bit lower. In that case, your doctor may have you prescribed to take some supplementation for that. And also these are typically got through the diet as well. As long as you're eating fresh fruits and vegetables, you'll be able to get these easily. So, okay. We can scroll down a little bit here to the herbal supplement section here. I'll just talk to you guys briefly about herbal supplements. I was just looking at what the most common supplementations that we typically take are as older adults. Very common one is St. John's wort. There's actually a good amount of data with this one that shows it does help with mood and some depression. However, there are some side effects of this one. So we have to be careful about it because it interacts with different medications and may affect your liver function. So ginkgo biloba is advertised to improve your cognition, your thinking, and also may possibly soothe some bladder irritation and infections, may help with some of the symptoms of that. Ginseng may improve blood sugar. There is some good evidence for that, actually. It also may improve your mood. Echinacea can be taken for cough and cold symptoms. Black cohosh can be taken for hot flashes as well. Not a whole lot of data for that, but there is some. Fiber, very common supplement for constipation and for people with diverticulitis. They'll often take that chronically. Saw palmetto can be taken for BPH symptoms, which is having a enlarged prostate. You may have trouble going to the bathroom or getting up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. So people may take that supplement. Males may take a supplement for that kind of problem with the prostate. So glucosamine, chondroitin, very common supplement for joint health and joint pains. The thought is it would help to supply these nutrients to help the bones or the joints regenerate the cartilage between the joints. In general, I just want to point out there's really only three things on there that is really recommended. I've kind of starred them on your handout there. It's St. John's wort, the fiber, and the fish oil. Those actually we have good data. The other ones are more iffy. Okay. Antioxidants, another common class of supplementation, vitamin E, selenium, vitamin C, beta carotene, all touted as antioxidant properties. People tend to take them if they are worried about getting a certain condition, but these aren't really shown to prevent any chronic diseases. So if you're taking them to prevent a disease, there's no data to do that, and I wouldn't suggest doing that this time. So micronutrients, people may worry about these lesser known nutrients or lesser thought about nutrients such as zinc and copper. As long as your diet's adequate, as we said before, eating plenty of fresh fruits and vegetables, you're not going to need these. You can get these through your diet. It's fine. Hormonal supplementation, people have taken some testosterone boosters. There's not very much evidence for these. And in general, and this is specifically speaking to the males who want to take these, it does show increased risk of heart disease and prostate cancer, especially in some rats and mice. So it's not really recommended to take these supplementations either. Lastly, a common sleep aid, melatonin, does actually help to reduce some insomnia and regulate your sleep cycle if you're having problems staying asleep at night. Usually lower doses, 3 to 5 milligrams, but you can go as high as 15 milligrams. You get those over the counter. There's a good amount of study data with this one. I would recommend this, and I do use it with my patients, and they find it pretty helpful. So other concerns here for supplementation, I just want to go over with you guys. So all these supplementations they're like drugs. They have side effects, they have toxicities. So we need to make sure that we treat them like that. So there's some dangers here. I just kind of put in the handout here. I'm not going to go over everything, but just keep in mind that there's side effects associated with these. Okay. All right. So in general, I just put some stuff here in the hand. I think we're running out of time here. So if the product is tempting, just talk to your doctor about it, okay, and see if it's something you should be taking, because we want to make sure you're not having some other disease process going on. We can actually have the time to look at the studies. We've done the research. We know that we have a medical background to know if it's something that you should be taking or not. We can also give you resources so you can look at it yourself, but we have the ability to digest information quickly and give you an answer that's an educated answer if we should take it or not, rather than spend a lot of money and possibly waste your time and money buying it. It's for myself personally, I take a look at patients, their records, I look at their personal situation and what treatment options they have for the medical conditions, kind of go over what I know about them and see if whatever product they're asking me about is a good fit or not for them, because it is very individual. I have to know about what their eating history is, their diet, things like that. So there's a lot of things to consider. Okay. And so you can talk to either the doctor's office, leave a message with a nurse or the team. You can talk with a pharmacist or a dietitian, all really great resources. You can just ask them and they would be more than happy to tell you about the product. Okay. How are we doing on time here?
Good.
Okay, 5 minutes or so, or?
Yeah, we have 10 minutes.
10 minutes? Okay. All right. So, these testimonials that you're going to see often are going to make it sound like a miracle cure. I urge you guys not to take their word for it, because they're designed to sell a product for you for a long period of time, and they're very expensive usually. If you see a product, write it down. Take a look at the ingredients, the active ingredients that are on there, because that's really going to use what you're using for your research to see if that is a product that you should be taking or not. Okay. And a big point I want you guys to take home today is that the herbal, organic supplementations, they may say, all natural, things like that, and they may be over the counter, but it doesn't mean that they're necessarily safe. Okay. So there's still possible side effects, interactions with drugs. And so be very careful. I had a gentleman who was taking cinnamon for, unbeknownst to me, to lower his blood sugar. And he was taking spoonfuls per day because he heard on the TV that was helpful for helping diabetes. So taking large amounts, and I ended up seeing him in the hospital for a GI bleed, because the cinnamon actually has something that thins your blood out. And so he had a GI bleed from that. So be very careful about these products. So just be thinking about how long would you have to take this herbal supplement, and is this something I can get through my diet? Because if you can get it through your diet, that's really the way to do it. You're going to absorb it better, and it's going to be safer for you, because your body will regulate how much it absorbs. So, so that's the general gist of it. I hope that we can give this handout so it can kind of go over more specifics. But I just want to open up the floor for any questions if you guys have. And just keep in mind that in general, if the product claim seems too good to be true, it probably is. Okay.
I'm just going to add for everybody that in Dr. Drotar's former life, he was a pharmacist. So this is the perfect topic to have him present on.
Oh, perfect. All right, so given this opportunity, we can allow anyone to ask any questions. So I've unmuted everybody. And you can also share your video if you like at this time.
Hello.
Hey guys, just go ahead and speak up. Any questions you have?
Yeah. Well, I put an earful on the chat, and I don't know if you're going to be able to get to all of them.
Oh, okay.
But right. If you want to just highlight a couple of them, that would be great. Right. I don't expect every single one. Okay. Oh, okay. I'm having a COVID hair day. Sorry.
Okay.
No problem. So
no worries. No worries.
One of her questions that she had was, okay, so she has somewhere she read that there are inert ingredients can be harmful to someone, to watch out for those long ads in the blade as a Chinese miracle cure. She said, I'm lactose intolerant, so I'm reminded of natural sources. So I'm not sure. So you're using calcium and orange juice?
Yeah, well, right now I'm using the calcium fortified orange juice, but we do eat salmon a lot, and I'm harvesting greens from the garden, so and so
okay,
maybe between all that stuff I'll have enough calcium.
Yeah, given if
summer, no ice cream.
There might be some in ice cream as well, but yeah, because you're lactose intolerant, you really can't take those. But yeah, those are really good sources there. You have the fortified orange juice, which is great. I think that if you're eating a wide variety of foods, which it sounds like you're eating some fresh vegetables and things like that, I think you're going to have plenty in there. The big thing is making sure you have enough vitamin D, because that is what helps you to regulate how much calcium you actually absorb. Right. So if you're not getting enough sunlight or your vitamin D levels are low, then you may not absorb all that you could from it. That being said, as long as you're getting constant calcium throughout the day, you're going to have enough. Okay.
More time in the garden. More time in the garden.
More time in the garden. Use sunscreen though, please. Okay. Very good. Yeah.
Does anyone else have another question?
Dr. Drotar, can you just speak real quick about that last question about probiotics and that? That seems to be something like in the last couple of years you hear a lot more about.
Okay, so the question here looks like it's talking about anti-inflammatories, and probiotics, and also COVID-19 infections. Starting with the probiotics, in general, probiotics are often helpful for people. They're not necessary unless you're having some digestive problem, typically diarrhea. Especially after antibiotic use. We do prescribe those to people. It helps prevent some of that diarrhea and some later infections from super infections from having a lot of antibiotic use. If you're having some absorption issues as well, it may be helpful. But typically, I usually prescribe it for people who have some diarrhea or malabsorption problems. Or possibly maybe a lot of gas or things like that, where I have some kind of clue that there's something wrong with the gut bacteria balance, and that helps to restore that. So it's not harmful to take. If you want to take it, it's great. You can take it a pill if you want, or you can get it through yogurt. It's a really easy way to get it, and pretty cheap. But if you like yogurt, you can take a probiotic, and it's not going to hurt you.
Oh, he's got a question.
Yes.
Yeah, many years ago, I used to take apple cider vinegar, maybe a tablespoon, and it was with some water and maybe a little honey if you can't, if you don't like the acidity of it, the taste of it. But, that was many years ago. And I've talked to some of my friends that swear by it, and I've seen ads on it. But I stopped taking it. I didn't, I just think it wasn't doing anything for me. Is there any truth to the possibility that it does have some helpful benefits? That is the intake of vinegar.
If I remember correctly, there's mixed data on that, whether or not it actually helps or not. And there's a wide variety of different things that's supposed to help. And so, the more the more wide variety of different ailments something claims to cure, the more I'm less likely to believe it, you know. But there is some mixed studies. Some say they help, some say they don't. They're all kind of small. So there's not a lot of good evidence to answer your question. In general, I mean, if that's not something that would be harmful for you to take, I don't know, you know, because your stomach breaks down the vinegar, breaks down the substance. I don't know if that is like specifically a miracle cure, as your body's going to break it down into its more smaller nutrients anyways. That being said, if you want to try it, I don't think it would hurt you. Just don't go over the recommended dosings. What are you taking this for specifically?
I'm kind of a health nut. I do take a multiple vitamin, and I take some other things, but I know a little bit from my research about, you know, taking too much of certain things. There's toxic, you know, like vitamin D. You don't want to overdo that.
Right.
Because it doesn't flush. I don't, apparently,
What's it to lose weight?
some things it's just a waste of money. Just, you know, you just flush it out. And there's harm to it. But there's other things like vitamin D. If you overdose on it, it could be dangerous.
Yeah.
I thought the tablespoon of vinegar, I just thought it might be a nice thing. You know, when I was reading all that, like you said, the claims that they make are so numerous that I figured, what the heck, you know, people put it on their salad, a tablespoon of tea, what can it hurt, you know? It was a preventative.
Exactly. It just, you can take, it's not going to hurt you to take a little bit of that. Sure. I'd say I don't have any problem with it from my perspective. You know, I would ask your family doctor if they think it'd be harmful, but certainly I think it'd be fine to take that. I mean, don't expect any miracle like cures or anything like that, but yeah, you can take it. It's not going to hurt you.
I stopped taking it, but I do have an appointment coming up with a new doctor. Dr. Thomas Cox retired.
I see. Okay.
All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open it up to either Betty or Julie. If you have any questions you'd like to ask, we have about another minute or two.
I have a question. Every once in a while, I'll run across homeopathic medications, aids, whatever, and I'm skeptical of it. I think there's nothing to it. I think it's just something that is expensive and will steal your money.
Sure.
Am I right?
It depends on what you're talking about. Yeah. So I'm going to give you guys a good resource here, which I don't have in the handout, unfortunately, but if you guys are tech savvy, there's a website called examine.com. This is probably the best website I've seen for homeopathic type of evidence, because they're really good at telling you this is the effect that it's touting. This is how much it's shown in study, whether it be minor, major, or moderate. They kind of scale it for you, not the effect. And they have links to the studies and give their unbiased opinion, because they're independent. Unbiased opinion of whether or not it helps on whatever symptom you're trying to treat with that herb.
I was just going to use it for like anxiety. And so there was a few out there that I thought of trying, which I never did because I saw the price tag on it. And I said, I'll just live with the anxiety. And so I thought, but I've often wondered if there was anything to it.
Well, so I don't know your history.
Thanks for the website.
Yeah. Examine.com is a good place to check it out. Now, if you have anxiety, I don't know your medical history, but I would start with your family doctor or whoever you're seeing first, because I don't know if this could be something. Could it be related to something else? Could it be a thyroid issue that's causing anxiety? Could it be something else? And so really, we want to treat the root causes of whatever's going on, not put a Band-Aid over the symptoms.
Well, it's something I've dealt with for years. I've been to all kinds of doctors, and I'm a lot better off than I was.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it was just.
Oh, it looks like they may have froze, unfortunately. So
I think our time is up.
Yes, unfortunately our time is up today. So I appreciate everyone for coming out and joining us. If you do have any additional questions, you can shoot us an email.
I was going through a stage where I thought, I don't think my medication's doing anything. I think about getting some just to see if it might benefit. Go ahead.
Yeah. So we do have to wrap up today, but we'd be happy to address any questions if we can. If you shoot us an email at programs@wccoa.net, and we can try to address any other questions or concerns you may have. Sure. But we thank you for your time, Doctor, and we look forward to having you back next month in September. we'll have another doctor or physician back, and the topic will be on cold and flus. So
if you guys have any questions, I'll be happy to take them. You just go and email me if you can get them my email address, okay?
Sure.
At St. Luke's. Okay.
Okay.
All right,
Thanks for your time today.
All right,
Thank you,
guys.
everyone.
Take care now. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.